All right, just going to talk a little bit about the same build I was talking about before. Um, this is a theory build. Someone mentioned that they think trauma might not actually affect the balls, in which case this whole idea doesn't work. I have not gone and done the testing myself, but that actually isn't the main thing I wanted to address, although it would be a huge thing. There was a comment that had a lot of upvotes with some feedback that was good and some that was a little bit questionable. I can't find it anymore. I believe it was from this user, and they've put this up. I don't know if they're talking to me here or not. I was intending to make a video replying to their old comment. I can't find it. I did not delete your comment. I don't know if you've edited your comment to this. I did not reply to your comment yet. If you've been replying to people, which I see you are, it's not me. So I'm not sure what this current comment is about. I was actually intending to respond to your criticism point by point now. Not sure what happened to it. I'm going to reply to what I think I remember from it, because I just read it on my phone when I was on the bus. Also, the real potential issue, by the way, which would completely tank this, is just if trauma doesn't apply to the balls, which is what someone else mentioned. I'm going to address these other questions as well, but I was trying to find the thing. I need to check the... Anyway, definitely need to check if it actually applies to the balls. Pob thinks it does. I haven't tested it at all. I just assumed Pob was correct there, but oftentimes Pob makes strange mistakes, so it's entirely possible that that's wrong. Anyway, back to this guy, Nightwing. Where did he go? Nightwing Poe. Again, I don't know what he's referring to. I have not replied to him. I did not delete his old comment. It says edited, so maybe this is his old comment that's been changed. So the first thing that I recall being mentioned is feeling like my mana doesn't work, which I disagree with. So we have this attack mana leached on hit, 161. We're sending out multiple balls per hit as well as the melee, and that's 10% of that is instant. So I don't perceive this to be an issue, even though it is a high mana cost we have here. I will probably have an enduring mana flask just to back it up, which I realized I didn't bother adjusting the flasks he had, so maybe that's where some of the criticism is coming from there. I don't normally do anything with the flasks when I make builds. It's just not a part of what I do. Unless it's a really specific thing and I'm doing Pathfinder or something. Wait, why did I click utility? I don't want flask utility. But to be clear, where's the one? Reduced amount recovered is not removed. There we go, the enduring flask. Cool, it doesn't really matter what else is on, but I would intend to have this. Mana costs are sort of fluid, and I've mentioned that I was switching out support gems, and there's a lot of things in the game that can sort of trivialize mana cost. You can always put on life tap if you want. It won't make that big of a difference in this build, but in any case, probably what I will do is have an enduring eternal mana flask. So hopefully that addresses that point. Like I said, most of the time we're going to be fine because we're leeching mana all the time from that node. Another criticism that I saw in the comments, I don't know if Nightwing mentioned it, but that the attack speed is a bit slow. I agree that it's not as fast as I would like, but this is, it's level 90, just got, I'm not saying this is warp speed mode yet. That is a vector that I would be looking to build further on. Someone said that my EHP is low. And I guess it sort of is, but you have to realize that that's not necessarily based on the things that matter so much. Part of that's that my chaos res is very low, and that's something that I mentioned at the end of the video, is just that I hadn't tinkered with the gear so much as to fix all these resistances. So some of that is going to move. And the other thing is that, frankly, I don't value EHP that highly relative to max hits, because in the game, we have tons of leech, we have tons of regen, we have health pots. There's a lot of things that are happening. If you're just taking little dinky hits, it doesn't usually matter so much. But like this, the game loves these sort of nodes, and these are nodes that I probably would take as we level further, because they are relatively efficient block nodes. And you see, you just take a few and it shoots up the EHP, because the game's like, oh my god, you're taking 6% less damage, 6%, 8% less damage. These are amazing nodes. You'll never take this damage ever. But in my opinion, in real life, in the game, EHP matters far less than max hit, because, like I said, you have all these reactive ways that you're gaining life. Whereas what you really need to be able to do is tank a single large hit. So instead of going for some of these block things or going for higher evasion, that's not something that I personally prioritize, because I'm usually building just resistant to main hits. I will say that I think it's a sufficient amount. I have played characters to level 90 of every gauntlet that I've played except one, I think, and that included all of the hardest ones, with equal to or less effective hit pool, effective hit pool than that. So for me, at least for the way I play, I believe it to be sufficient. You can agree or disagree. I'm trying to remember what this guy said. I wish he wouldn't have changed it or deleted it. This guy's really sort of going after it. Whatever. There was comments about trauma and feeling like that was misleading. If the one commenter is correct and it doesn't work with the balls, obviously it's incredibly misleading, which was not my intention. But the other thing is, I am quite familiar with trauma stacks. People are talking as though I don't know them. I played a character to 90 last league using a similar build with trauma stacks. I wasn't using Molten Strike. I was using a variety of other strike skills, including Power Strike. Flicker Power Strike. But I am familiar with them falling off. That's part of why I have put a relatively high movement speed on here for day 2, essentially solo self-found gear, with using the haste, with using things like that. That's something I'm prioritizing, keeping up. I do take it as a fair criticism that I did not clarify in the video that you are not going to be running around with maximum trauma stacks all the time. That's absolutely true. It wasn't my intention to not include that. I just was recording it at midnight when I was getting up at 4:45 the next day and did not think to mention it. But you're absolutely right. For assuming maximum trauma stacks when you're running around is probably not fair. So let's make sure we include a good amount of that. Sustainable trauma 46. It's probably more realistic that you're running around with 30 most of the time. So I'll put that. And you'll see that does dip the DPS a fair bit. And if you want to say, there's a boss with tons of immunity phases, maybe even a lower amount. I think 30 is probably fair, but it is a fair criticism to say, hey, the default POB setting is all of the trauma stacks, when realistically you're not going to have those. Also said it was just a shit build. I would reply, quoting the dude, that's just like your opinion, man. It is entirely a shit build if that other commenter is correct and it doesn't apply to the balls. Then it's just like, well, forget the whole idea. Let's see. Mentioning leveling pub. So that's a good point. I am not like a build creator. I'm more of a build reviewer / adapter for solo self-found. What I would do if I were leveling, I would just sort of walk along this tree, really. It's quite fine for the beginning. My personal preferred skill at the beginning is just to take ground slam and roll with it until there's a reason to switch. For me, it's just the most comfortable early game melee skill. Obviously, you can take your melee skill of choice and do what you like. There's a lot of content creators that are talking about melee starts, and it's also plenty of historical content about that. If you don't know about the vendor recipe with the rustic sash, you can search vendor recipe on Wiki and look for that. I'm not going to get into it too far now because I have maybe 10 more minutes to record this and then I need to run. But yeah, you can pretty much just follow this path and it's not going to be unreasonable. I would probably just go like here and then across, then probably take the strength. I know what the other thing that Nightwing mentioned was. He was mentioning this modifier, and he may be correct on this as well. I just put in this as the weapon quality change because the weapon quality changes to more physical damage. And he didn't quite articulate it that way, but I think what he was saying, or intended to say rather, is that he expects it to be a local modifier on the weapon because in the past quality has been a local modifier on the weapon. And that may be true, in which case we should, in fact, take this off. The reason why that is not necessarily my expectation, although it very well could be because it has been true of weapon quality in the past, is that this would be the first time ever there's a local more modifier. So I started playing seriously in Breach League, and in that time I've never seen a more modifier that wasn't global. But this could be our first one, and it would make some amount of sense for it to be inherent to the weapon, so that could be the case. And that would be true for both myself and Connor. Trying to think if there's anything else that I saw mentioned. Oh, this guy's talking about the golem. In fairness, I didn't check the golem mana cost, so maybe he's right there that it requires more mana than I checked. Is it really 130? Oh, that is too high. Yeah, he's correct. How far down do I have to go for this to be legit? Not at all. I need to get rid of it. Fair point. Let's get rid of that. Oh, I still need cast when damage taken for the molten shell, and we'll still run a fairly high one, I think. Requires level 67. Perfect. Okay, gives us room for one more something. What's the one that does consecrated ground? I like that one. It's like a really low level skill. I use it all the time. Blanking on it. Oh, there's the one that shoots consecrated ground. I'll probably just throw that in for now with cast damage taken. Oh, no, you know what I'll do? I'll throw in an unlinked, because I cut this earlier. I'll put in an unlinked frost blink because that's nice to have as well. Consider that unlinked. It's not obviously not intended to be attached to cast damage taken, although it wouldn't anyway at a high level. Did that throw off my intelligence? No, I'm still okay. Do. I'm sorry, Nightwing, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm gonna downvote you. Because it really seems like you're addressing me when I have not said anything to you. I did not do anything to your old comment. It seems like you're just sort of retroactively gotten rid of your thing. If you want me to address your pub, feel free to link it. I don't know. I feel like this is a weird interaction, to be honest. Because literally I was sitting down to record a video replying to you now. But anyway. Maybe I'm being unfair and I've misunderstood something and his comment is still here and I'm just being a dick, but that's not really my intention. Okay, I think that was everything I was going to do, and regardless, I need to run. So I will catch you guys in the next one. I will check if the trauma does apply to the balls as Pob thinks it does or it doesn't. Sorry, I did not have time to test it immediately, and that is sort of a key thing. I mean, it's definitely a key thing. Otherwise, I'm going to be playing a different build. But in any case, I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Equus out.